Hi everyone, welcome to An Hour with LawSikho. Today we are going to talk about something very interesting, something that I love and probably you love and everybody loves, and that is money. All lawyers work very hard to earn, right? So most of us wanted to be lawyers because we heard that being a lawyer you can earn a lot, right? And that is true. Lawyers tend to earn very well. It's one of the professions where there is a tremendous scope for earning a lot of money. And while we keep talking about different career options, today we decided we'll talk about money, right? So, how do you save? How do you grow your wealth? And this is something which is very interesting because, I thought about this topic and I felt that this is extremely relevant because in my time, I have seen that, the money I earned, how I spend it, and how I invested it. I mean, I know a lot more about that than what I used to know in the past, and I have made a lot of bad mistakes about finances, right? So the things that I do now after I turned 30 and recently 31, so the decisions I'm making, I wish I have been making those decisions when I was 20 or even earlier. I started earning when I was 20 years old, and I wish I knew all these things and I had followed these rules, but I did not. So that is a very special guest today, Gursimran Mastana, who is going to tell us about how wealth can be managed better by by lawyers. For that, I have some specialist, and I know about managing finances. I'll also share that. So let us welcome Gursimran. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good
Thank you
evening
for
to everyone.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And it's a very important topic, something that lot of money. Thinking money is easy, keeping money is perhaps even more
Yes.
difficult. So keeping it and growing it requires as much thinking and strategizing and systems as it takes to earn money. So people who ignore that part are bound to suffer. So we're going to talk about something about something very important, you think in your tell us actually around a little.
Okay.
Can you tell background?
Yeah. So basically, I'm from IT industry. So I have worked there with Accenture, Hewlett Packard, TCS, Dell, and financial is something which I was interested during my childhood days. So I started investing when I was in class 7th in stocks. So that was my passion since I was in school days. And when I passed out my school, at that point there was no any avenues for the financial advisory business in India. There was most of a sub broker or a commission based selling which used to happen, which I was not very in favor of, because if I'm selling something to you and I'm also a product manufacturer, so I have a bias thing to sell that to you. So this was something which I was not very keen. So software was my second interest. So I started working in software. And when SEBI came with regulation in 2012 that a financial advisor has to be regulated by SEBI, that was my eureka moment. This was something which I was hoping for past 15 years, 10 years, because in US also it started just 8, 10 years back. So that was my eureka moment. So I thought that now this is the time that I should start working on in this field. It is still very new field in India. People still think that okay, fine, financial planning is all about buying FDs, buying property or gold. But let me tell you, those days are over now, because our financial markets, our plannings are all getting very complicated now. Those easy days of 11% FD returns or real estate, I mean, you hear the horror stories all around you. So that you need, and also our jobs, we are not getting linear incomes. We never know when our job will be out of job or something like that. So this is, I will say, financial planning is next to your medical thing. I mean, after doctor, even I will say it's more than important than doctor, because even doctor you have to pay fees.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. So, what is your experience with lawyers? So, lawyers, are they, obviously, lawyers are known to be earning a lot of money, but how good are they with managing their wealth usually? And what are the challenges which is specific to lawyers with respect to wealth
So
management?
So let me tell you. So when I'm running my advisory, I normally when we talk to HNI is your high net worth individual. So in HNI, we normally sometimes we take lawyers on retainer basis, like because, for example, if I give an example, like if a person wants to buy a plot, a commercial building, okay, and we will recommend based on our financial planning, okay, fine, you should go for real estate. Then we will require a lawyer to scan through the property papers and everything is going fine or not. During those cases, we require lawyers of if any exotic investments of a company a person is looking for, like unlisted company, like you and me can invest in listed companies, okay, which everything is regulated. But if I'm looking for any unlisted companies, I require a lawyer's help to scan through the documents, what is the shareholding pattern and everything. So that is there. Now coming back to their financial planning, I'll be very honest with you, and for the lack of the better word, they don't know how to plan their finances. And I'll be very honest, it is not their fault also. What is the reason behind it? Because like a salaried guy every day gets a fixed amount of income. Based on that, he can plan his finances, he can accordingly plan his expenses and everything. Lawyer is not, is there is no difference between a lawyer and a farmer, because so your income is very dynamic in nature. Okay, some 2 3 months you will be earning like hell, but next 3 4 months you will not have any cases or something like that. You will not earn anything. So it's very tough for lawyers to manage their finances, because your income is very dynamic in nature, it's not linear in nature. So it's very important for lawyers, even more important as salaried class, to manage their finances. They
Okay.
need to
So
be
there
very
are, of
sure.
course, lawyers. Sometimes there are lawyers who have their salary also. There are salary
Yes,
lawyers who are working in firms and all. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of lawyers who are independently practicing, and for them, the income is uncertain. It could be a good number every month, but it could be very different, right? So one
yes,
month you have a lot of clients paying up bills, and another month you don't. And it's,
yes.
it's a common thing for
And they're
lawyers.
running their own business also.
Successful lawyers have this problem. Like, it's not, may not be a problem for them monetarily, but it requires some management.
Because one more thing I've seen is that lawyers, they're not able to differentiate between their firm income and their personal income. That's the biggest thing which I found out. Like if a firm is earning some 100 rupees, they're not able to take salary out of that, because at the end of the day you're running a business. Okay, so they're not able to differentiate between their personal income and their law firm income.
Very interesting. That I think very important point. Yes. So when you are running a law firm, are you, the income of the firm is one thing, but what you
Yes,
are actually taking home out of it is very different. Yes.
a
So
law firm is a separate entity. It's not your personal baby. It's a separate entity. You need to respect that.
sure. What else?
And for the people who are even the lawyers who are earning their salary or something, what I found out is that still, in fact, because the nature of the job is such, they're still investing in old school tools like FDs and properties. But I was recently having a discussion with one of the lawyers. His point was that FD is very safe, but let me tell you, and let me tell all my audience here, investing in an FD is much more riskier than equities. Now, everyone will be shocked to hear that what you're saying. Equities are
Absolutely.
risky, FDs are not. But let me tell you,
FD is pure shot bad idea.
uh,
FD is pure shot bad idea. I mean, like, you are losing money if you invest in FD for sure. It's a basic mathematical thing. You can't help it. You are losing money.
inflation is at 8 now. Let me tell my viewers, inflation is at 8 to 9%. Your FD after taxation is giving you 6%. At the end of the day, you're losing 3 rupees on an annual basis. And let me tell you, RBI only give you the insurance of 1 lakh. So if your bank goes bankrupt and you have 10 lakh rupees, RBI will only give you 1 lakh back. That 9 lakh is gone.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And more than anything, it's basically if I am keeping an FD of, let's say, 10,000 rupees, then over the year, I'm losing value of it, although the money in absolute number remains. But what
Yes,
really happens is that you are, the inflation is happening, right? At 10%, 12% in our country. So what you could buy with 100 rupees yesterday, you cannot buy any more today, right?
yes,
Next year you cannot buy the same products. Let's say if
yes.
something used to cost let's say our courses, something used to cost 15,000 earlier, now it may be costing 17 or 18,000. So the purchasing power of 10,000 rupees does not remain the same year after year, so it reduces.
Even more surprising than that is that people don't, this is the normal inflation I'm talking about. You guys will be more surprised that there is one thing called lifestyle inflation that is in 17 to 18%. So what is lifestyle inflation? Lifestyle inflation is cost of your child's MBA education, your house, your property, your lifestyle. This also costs, this inflation for these kind of things are more than 15%. So you have no choice but to invest in assets which give you more than your FDs. Fixed return is a injurious to your health, financial health. Let me tell you that. I have seen a lot of horror stories when people, they keep on investing in their FDs for 15 years, 20 years, and after that they're not able to achieve their child goal, their retirement goal. It's people, they're not able to understand the magnitude of the problem here, because at the end of the day, why you guys go out of your home? To earn money.
Yes. So it is basically a very bad idea to put money in MD. So what are the alternatives? Like where do you also people are concerned about losing money by investing in the wrong places. So what
Yes.
are the options they have?
So it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing. First thing first, first insure yourself. Let me tell you, insurance and investments are a different concept. Never mix that both. It's a very bad cocktail. Insurance should be insurance. Investment should be investment. People, they have bought a lot of ULIPs, in which what is the problem is that in ULIP, the insurance cover will be less. The investment at the end of the day, they will be investing in stock market only. So why you can't directly invest through stock market, when why you have to go to the ULIP route? Here the premiums will be less. You have to pay the more premiums and the cover will be less. The first golden rule of financial planning: insure yourself. How you do that? HLV, which is human life value. How you calculate that? If you're earning, for example, 10 lakh rupees, in lawyers, I will recommend 15 times. The 15 times of your annual income should be your insurance cover. So why we save 10 to 15 times? So for example, if something happens to you, for example, you're earning 10 lakhs. If you put 1.5 crore as a cover, if something happens to you, your family will put that 1.5 crores in bank FD or something like that as a safety. The interest of 7-8% will equivalent to your annual income which you were earning. So this way your family will able to sustain themselves. So that's the first golden rule of life cover, and you should always buy term cover, not mix up with any other. People with lot of insurance companies will tell you buy this, buy that, but no, always buy a term cover. That is the cheapest product in the market. That is the first golden rule. Second, buy a family floater health insurance with all your family members included. Never rely on your company's health insurance, because the golden concept here is that the more you age, the more premium you have to pay. And if you buy the insurance at a younger age, you will get the compounding effect. The company will cover all the health hazards which you will face in future. So golden rule is always buy a health insurance family floater. Now, in financial terminology, we say that your assets are protected, your car insurance, house, and everything. Now you go to the investments part. How you calculate your investments? You need to calculate your goals. Normally a financial advisor, even in the financial advisor also, there's a lot of problems going on. First of all, only the SEBI registered person has to be called as a financial advisor, like us. I have cleared all my SEBI papers. I'm a certified mutual fund advisor. I'm a certified stock research analyst. I have cleared all my level of papers from SEBI, and I have completed all my regulation from SEBI. So I'm a SEBI registered investment advisor. Only the SEBI registered investment advisor can supposed to give you advice. You can't. Our mutual fund advisor, first of all, can't say he's an advisor because he's a commission-based agent. SEBI will have put a lot of people behind bars because of that. So first golden rule, always engage the service of SEBI registered advisor. Only he is supposed to give you the, I have got my license. I am regulated by SEBI. If I'm doing any mis-selling, you can go to SEBI and complain about me. But if a mutual fund guy or insurance guy, they can even run with your money. Okay, because they are also regulated by IRD and FE, but SEBI is a prime, it's a mothership kind of stuff. So they are only, the insurance guy can give you advice only for insurance. A mutual fund can give you guy only for mutual fund. But a SEBI registered advisor will give you the holistic advisory of overall plan. He will have a holistic view on your finances. He will recommend you which insurance products to buy. He will recommend which mutual funds to buy, what FDs, everything. So he will give you the whole holistic planning. And the best part of the SEBI guy is that he will not take any commissions from the product. He will only take money from you.
Got it.
This way you save on commissions. So this is the third part. And fourth part is you need to understand your risk appetite, because different, as we say, different strokes for different folks. Every person life challenges are different. Every person life goals are different. So you need to sit with your financial advisor. You need to chalk out what are your plans, what you want to do. So based on that, set your goals. When your goals will be set, then the backward calculation will be set that, okay, are you comfortable with equities? In equities also, there are a lot of variations. The first level of equity is the balance funds, in which they invest 60% of your money in equity, 40% in FDs. People will surprise to know even mutual fund also invest in FDs. We have a product called liquid funds, and that's a tax saving product. It means like in a FD, your TDS will be deducted on an annual basis. But in a liquid mutual fund, you can keep on investing in that, and for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, if you keep the money, you will not pay any tax. It's tax, and even and they pay you more than FD.
Interest rate also.
Yeah, they pay you more than FDs, because, for example, in FD you only have an FD of one bank, which is Axis Bank. But liquid mutual fund will take money from you. He will invest 100 rupees in SBI, 100 rupees in Axis. So you have the diversification advantage also. So these are the balance funds. The second level is a large cap, then the mid cap, and the riskier one are the small caps. Okay. So this is the equity part. And I always recommend people to please only invest in mutual fund, because you guys are in full-time jobs. You're a full-time lawyers. You're working full-time. A direct equity, which means buying stock yourself, requires a lot of hard work, a lot of homework. People like us who are full-time into this can recommend you. But I never recommend a direct equity to a person who's doing a full-time job.
To buy the right equity, it is very difficult, because tomorrow there may be something wrong with that company, and you will not even find out before the whole company collapses. So it is not.
You never know.
Yeah, so it is best left to, even I always invest only in mutual funds and never buy any equity directly, is because it's simple that I cannot keep track of a company like stock analyst will, and let the people who have been hired by mutual funds decide where to invest and what to do. I just look at the track record of that mutual fund and accordingly invest. And I mean, that obviously makes.
You can buy direct plans. So there are two kinds of mutual funds. You can buy direct plans and a regular plans. If you have that much knowledge of investing direct, even like, for example, we advisors who are SEBI registered, we always invest in direct plans, because we are not earning any money from mutual funds. We are only earning money from you. So yeah, this is like, if you go through us, if you yourself are very knowledgeable, I always recommend that you always invest direct plans. And I will just give you one striking number. People will say, oh, it's only 1%, 2% of my money. How it does matter? But let me tell you, if, for example, you're paying 25,000 rupees SIP, which is investment every month, and when it's only 500 is the commission a guy is taking, if the investment keeps on increasing by 15 to 18% on an annual basis for next 20 years, that 500 rupees per month will be total cumulative will be 7 lakh rupees in 20 years. That only 500 rupees per month. That's the power of compounding. Right. So you have paid 8 lakh rupees to a guy out of your own hard-earned money, just because you were a little lazy of not going direct.
Okay. So
That's
how
a
do
cost.
you go direct? Like what is the direct thing? How does it work?
Okay, so direct mutual funds. The best part is that, for example, if you have for example, if you want to go for HDFC mutual funds, you can directly go to their site, which is their AMC site, HDFC AMC. And I never recommend a person to go buy more than 3-4 funds, because that's good enough for your diversification. So on a Sunday, just take half an hour, 40 minutes of your time. Whatever the funds you have selected, go directly to their AMC. Like, for example, you selected HDFC and SBI, for example. Just go to their website, log in, go through their KYC. Even they have made that easier. They will just take your Aadhaar card, digital photocopy of your Aadhaar card and all that stuff. It will hardly take 15 to 20 minutes. They will do the KYC, and then within 2 days, you will get 1 to 2 days, depending on their systems. They will you can directly go log in, like just like your banking, online banking. You can directly go, and you can also give them instructions that every month deduct this much money from your salary account, and they will do that. This way you can go direct. That's the best way.
Okay. That's very useful. So what else, like, apart from investing in mutual funds, what are the other investment options?
Okay, so right now I'm just giving you a general advice, because like for example, every person has a different risk appetite, different nature of income, and different way of income. So I'm just giving you a very general financial products which is there in the markets. One is the mutual fund. Second is the ETFs and the index funds. This is even more safer than the mutual funds, in which you directly buy Nifty or Sensex. You don't have a fund manager risk. For example, even fund manager is also a human. He can also make mistakes. So here what happens is that you just directly buy 50 best companies in India, and whatever the benchmark will return, you will get that return. That's a safest way of investing in equities. Nothing is much more safer than index funds, because whatever, and let me tell you, for past 40 years, the average return of index is 18% per annum for past 40 years. Cargill happened, your Asian crisis happened, Japan crisis happened, lot of stuff happen. And please, please, please don't watch business channels. They are paid actors.
Sure.
Your investments is, you see, I'm just giving you a very basic data. This is a very big number I have given. For past 40 years, Sensex has given 17 to 80% returns, and I'm not including dividends. Companies have gone, companies have come, Cargill happened, wars happened, crisis, 2008 crisis, prime minister, everything, whatever you bad you think of, Harshit Mehta scam, but Sensex keep on moving. See, understand one thing: you require your daily toiletries. You will buy your Maruti, you will buy your clothes, you will buy your food. The business will keep on happening. So don't worry on that. The markets, the paid actors, they keep on saying it's a black Monday, it's a black Tuesday. It is for the traders who every day comes, who every day sells. It is for the traders. You are the investor. See, people always say that even you will fairly agree to this. I always say that job is much more riskier than business, because in job you only have one source of income, which is your company. In business, you have different clients, different source of income. So that's much more safer. This is the same logic we have to go with equities. Nestle, we are having that coffee for past 40 years. Colgate, ITC, Hindustan Unilever, MRF tires.
Somebody goes down, somebody else will come. So if you're following an index, then simply the fund will say, whichever whoever goes out of that top 30 or top 50, it will
Yeah,
remove that and it
yeah.
will buy another stock, whichever is
Let
the
me
best.
tell you, 1985, Ambassador, Hindustan Motors was the top company in 1985. Scindia Shipping, Arvind Textiles. No one knows these companies now. Index, what does it do? Every 1 year or 2 years, whatever the company, it's mostly on an annual basis. If the company which is not performing, automatic basis, they will remove the company.
Sure.
Or the other company which is a market cap wise, who is much more doing better, the company will come into the index. So you're not doing anything. Automatically, index is it's removing the bad rotten apples and getting the new ones. Now we have Infosys. IT companies are the major part of the index now. 15-20 years it was shipping, textiles, steel. Now it is IT, biotechs. So that is the how the index is happening. So the beautiful way of investing in equity is like in old Hero Honda ad, fill it, shut it. Same goes with equity. Buy your please be have a narrow eyes on your goals and keep on investing in index fund and forget about that and stop watching business channels.
So you would say that even mutual fund is unnecessary to invest in, just invest in exchange traded
So if,
index.
for example, you have a goal. For example, let's give an example: a person A and a person B. A person A is happy with 14, 15% returns based on his, maybe he's earning more or maybe his needs are less. Okay, so I will recommend an index fund for him. So why he should take unnecessary risk when his goals can be achieved in 13 to 14%. Other person, he's now late in the he has aggressive goals and he's willing to take that risk. So that's what a risk assessment happens. As per the advisor, when we talk to the person, we have this risk assessment tool. We understand what is this risk assessment tools,
So that
what
is
are
fine.
the,
You are saying that although it is more risky to invest in mutual funds, are the returns better in mutual funds?
yes. So the risk, so it happens. So in industry, so what we say, no pain, no gain. If you're willing to take more risk, you can even get 32% per annum on mutual fund, like small cap funds. For past 4 years, on an annual basis, a small cap mutual fund has given you 30% return. In
Yes.
3 years, your money has doubled. But you're willing, but now in this 1 year, this year, the fund, the small caps is down by 20%. So if you're able to sleep with that, please, by all means, invest in small caps. But if you're kind of a conservative guy who wants to invest conservatively, then go for index funds. So it depends on your risk appetite. It depends on your goals. If you have more aggressive goals, then I will recommend going for mid cap and small cap. You're willing to take that risk also. So if a person is happy with 12, 13%, go for index funds.
Okay. All right. So can you explain the difference between small cap, mid cap, and large cap, and how it works?
So
For
small cap is basically a company which is under 1,000 crores. So different benchmarks have a different definition. I'm just giving you a very vague number. So anything less than 2,000 to 3,000 crore of market cap is a small cap. Anything which less than, I mean, with 10,000 to 15,000 crores is a mid cap. Anything which goes above 30 to 40,000 crores is a large cap. So if we give you an example, a Maruti and a TCS will be a large cap company. Okay. For example, companies like your Eicher Motors or something like that, Ashok Leyland can be your mid cap companies, and a small cap companies can be your, for example, Balaji Hotels or something, a very small cap company. The reason the small cap companies riskier are because their business models are not defined, because you as an entrepreneur yourself, you know the mortality rate of entrepreneurship. Every 5 years of entrepreneur, like if you start, if 100 companies started today, in next 3 years 90% of that company will vanish. In next 3 years, the 10 companies which has sustained, 80% of those companies will be vanished. So after 5 years, only 2 companies out of the 100 will survive. So that's a mortality rate in entrepreneurship. So that same logic goes with small cap also, that smaller the company, the more risk it is. Like for example, demonetization happened. A lot of small companies have gone out of the business, but large companies like Asian Paints and all, they're able to sustain themselves because of the money power, because of the branding. So that's the reason I said don't go by the market cap logic, like what I'm saying. But it's a very vague number I'm giving. Like let me tell you, we have 7,000 companies listed in our markets, but active trading happen only in top 1,000 or 15 to 2,000 companies. That's it. Our market is not that efficient. So if a mutual fund manager able to find a gem that, okay, this company will work wonders, then his mutual fund can do wonders. But it's a very risky thing. So let me tell you one thing: our markets are not efficient. So what's the meaning of efficient? A US market, for example, is a more efficient market because all the stocks have already been highlighted by all the people. So most of the people are investing in passive funds because they're not able to generate an alpha. What is an alpha? Like if I'm earning good than a nifty, that I'm generating that alpha, which means I'm doing my job. But the more the market become efficient, the more the people know about everything, they will get those benchmark returns. In India, still the mutual funds has the scope, not the large cap ones. Because let me tell you one thing, a very scary number, that for past 4 to 5 years, a large cap fund is not able to beat the benchmark, which is Nifty. So why I'm paying that 2% extra management fee to my manager if he's not able to beat the it's better to invest in a index fund.
Yes. So
Small
why?
and mid cap, yeah.
Because it's supposed to be better than benchmark fund. So what is happening?
So that's the reason I'm paying you the fees, right? So you should do better than the benchmark. If you're not able to beat the benchmark, if you're not able to generate alpha, but that 2% is costing me. So that's the reason I'm recommending a lot of my clients that if you want to, if you're a safe guy, please invest in index funds, passive funds, no management risk, no mutual fund risk, simple, pure, plain vanilla fund. And let me tell you, in US, in past 10 years, the studies show that most of the money is going from active management to passive management. Passive management is index funds management, and the active is your mutual fund. So in US, it's already happening, but India, we still have opportunity in a mid cap and a small cap.
Okay. And that is because like you can find something that others yet do not know about.
Because we have 7,000 listed companies.
Okay.
But the risk is also high. Risk is also very high. For example, for example, in my case, I'm a more of an aggressive guy. I can sleep with 20-30% losses in my portfolio. I have that risk appetite. But most of the people who are earning for their, who are for the, saving for their child gold or something like that, I always recommend go for even a large cap or max to a mid cap fund. That is what, because they also have to buy their houses. And yeah, and this is another topic, it's a very big topic nowadays.
Give me an idea. If I started saving 10,000 rupees when I was 20 years old, right? So I could easily save 10,000 rupees back then. So if I started saving 10,000 rupees per month 10 years back, then how much money will I have today? I mean, this I think is most people do not know. That if they invest in a mutual fund or an exchange traded fund, which or like index linked fund, which was giving, let's say, 15 or 16% return year on year. So what would happen? How much money would I have?
So let me give you an example. So you said that you are in you were saving 10,000 rupees, right?
Yeah.
20 years back.
10 years back.
Okay, 10 years back. So let's say a 18% calculation which I'm doing, which used to happen, which was a 10-year return. So if you've saved 10,000 rupees per month for 10 years, now the money is 31 lakhs.
31 lakhs, right? So I'll be sitting on 31 lakhs. If I just save 10,000 month after month, that's all, right? That's all.
That's all. And let me tell you the cost of that mistake. For example, it's a very interesting number. If, for example, you started 30 years back, right? And after 30 years, your money will be hold your breath, huh? It will be 11 crores.
Yes, absolutely.
If you keep on investing 10,000 rupees for 30 years, and that it's an average return of 80, and this is all fact. It's like Sensex has given 18% return for 40 years. I'm not getting this number out of the thin air. These are facts. So the number will be so the number will be around 11 crores. Now, if you have started even 5 years late, okay, let's say out of 30, 25 years, you were 5 years late, okay, that number has been reduced by 6 crores. It's only 5 crores.
Correct.
Or 4, to be exact, 4 crore 51 lakhs. So that's the value of that 5 years which you were late, because the compounding, that first 5 years was compounding for next 25 years.
Yes.
So that's the reason Einstein said that compounding is the 8th wonder of the world. Just because of your 5 years delay, it cost you 6 crores.
Correct. Absolutely. And this is something that most people do not know, and a lot of time people are scared of mutual funds. They think that mutual funds are you lose money from mutual funds, and I think there have been some mutual fund scams in the past in India, because of which our parents have told, like when I started investing in my mutual funds, started SIPs, my father said, "Oh, you are investing in mutual fund, it's very bad." It's like he doesn't know really. It just, he has heard this thing that it is not good. Perhaps there was some scams in the past when I was a little kid. He has heard that and read that. So now, don't invest
I
in
will not, I will not blame. So I'll be very honest with you. I will not blame your father because he has seen the Harshad Mehta scam. He has seen the Ketan Parekh scams. He's right in his approach. But now, because the SEBI has, let me tell you, and people they don't not aware of that. Real estate still doesn't have the regulator. They are coming with RERA. It's just starting out. So
yeah,
if, for example, you have seen a lot of horror stories around all around you in Calcutta, Delhi, all the developers have run with people's money. The development has been delayed for 10 years, 15 years. They are paying the EMI also, they are paying the rent also. So what is risky? And equity, let me tell you, equity is one of the most regulated market in the whole world, Indian equity markets, because of
absolutely.
SEBI. Let me
The
clarify
last
this.
1 year, only one major scam that has happened is Satyam scam. Other than that, we did not have any major
That is
scam.
not even an equity scam. That is, it was a company specific.
Correct. Yeah.
The promoters, there was an issue with the promoters. But who tells you to put all your eggs in one basket? That's the reason we have mutual funds. That's the reason we have index
So
funds. That
basically,
if
in
one
20
company,
years, we did not have a single share scam or a stock exchange scam, except I think there was a commodity exchange scam, which is a different
let
case.
me tell you about the scams also. Till now, there has never been a stock market scam. It has always been a company specific. For example, in Harshad Mehta scam, mostly the money what he was doing is he was taking the money from the banks. Okay, he was investing in the stocks of his favorite stocks, and he was rigging the price of those stocks.
Correct.
And because of those stocks, the whole equity market was ballooning. Okay, so he was because the stocks, for example, the value of the stock was 10 rupees. Like for example, it was like Maruti 800 was selling at the price of Mercedes E-Class.
Right. Sure. So and then
Okay,
he
so
sells it and books a profit and he leaves. Right. So it's
yes,
called
so
what's
people,
it's called
so
pump and
so
dump.
yeah,
Yeah.
so common people like us, we keep on buying Mercedes E-Class at the Maruti 800 E-Class price, and because see everyone has a fundamentals. If you buy a thing which is valued 2 lakh and bought it for 20 lakhs, it is bound to fall.
Absolutely. So, anyway, it is a fairly safe investment, but people do not know. And I did not know this that, if I started investing, then this would have happened. And so I started a few years back, 4 years, 5 years back, somebody explained it to me, and I researched and I started investing. And I'm glad that I at least started better late than never. But I think this is something that, people need to learn that investing in index linked fund or mutual funds. So
I'll
what?
be very. There was a one blog, for example, I run my education blog also on my Facebook. Okay, it's by the same name, ParamAsa Wealth Advisory. In that, my one of my famous vlog, which is has the 4,000 hits, was that how your lunch can fund your child's education. That was the topic of my vlog. How your lunch, your office lunch, can fund your child education. So the basic thesis of that thing was that if you buy a 200 rupees thali every day from your canteen, instead of that you start bringing food from your home, you will save around 150 rupees. If you put that 50 rupees per month per day basis on your mutual fund, that money with 17-18% will be equivalent to 30 lakhs. Just because you're not having that thali, your child can do your MBA education.
Correct. So it is a extremely wonderful way of explaining the. So there was, I think, Benjamin Graham or somebody had said that the fact that money actually the interest rate compounding is actually the eighth wonder of the world. Like if
Yes,
you happen for a long time, it does wonders.
yes.
So, great. So what else? Like we understood about mutual funds and we understand about insurances. What else? Like what? Why don't you explain about the tax saving funds? Like you invest in them, then that saves your tax.
Yeah.
What
So
is that?
tax saving, even in mutual fund, we also have a tax saving under section 80C, which is ELSS funds. Okay. So ELSS fund is called equity linked saving schemes. So under section 80C, you can invest in those mutual funds. Okay. I really don't want this session to be in mutual fund heavy because mutual fund is one way, but the reason we are stressing more on mutual fund was that that's the best way to get in to convert your saving from hard assets, which is gold and real estate, to mutual funds, which is like a digitization and finalization of your assets.
Sure.
Okay, we had coined this new term that your assets should be liquid in nature. Okay, so that's the reason mutual fund is the best product for the common man. FDs we have covered. Instead of FDs, I have recommend to go for liquid mutual funds, because it is just like
Yes.
it's like FD but tax saving. So we have covered your liquidity, which is a liquid mutual fund. Second, your equity growth assets, which is your equity mutual funds. And the third, insurance, we have covered it, how you calculate your human life value and all that. Now, the big elephant in the room, your house is not an investment, it's a consumption. Okay,
Yes.
people think that their house is an investment. Please understand one thing, you will not sell your house and live in a tent. Okay, so that's the reason your house demands maintenance, your house demands taxation. So people has this biggest myth that their house is their investment. It is not, it's a consumption product. Okay, what we call in financial advisory. So it's a
Absolutely.
simple logic. Any asset which takes money out of you, it's a liability. Any asset which brings money in your pocket is an asset. So if you have a rental property, I will consider it as an investment. But if you're living in that property, it's a consumption. So house is your basic need. It's not an investment. Now, even in coming back to the house topic, most of my people who are near retirement, there's a very new product which has come in the market. It's called reverse mortgage. Okay, most of the people, they're not aware. So most of our retirees, our parents, they're asset rich but cash poor. What that means is that they have crores of assets lying around, but they don't have the liquid money to pay for their medical bills and all that. So the person who have bought the house, he has put all his saving in that house. Now their children's are having the independent lifestyle. But please, I know I'm going little out of my way, but let me, because of the experiences I have seen from the people,
Sure.
please,
Sure. Go ahead. Hmm.
please don't put everything. Please don't give everything to your child. Okay, let him be independent. Your house can be your earning partner. So how you can do that is that when you are above 60 years old, just like an you buy an property from a bank and you pay the EMI. In this way, the bank will take the property from you and bank will pay you the EMI. So this way you will stay in that property, and every till the time you're alive and your spouse is alive, the bank will keep on giving you the money. Okay, and after that, after you both after your demise, the whatever the value of the property is left, that can be then given back to your children. So that's a very new product which has come in the market for the people who have put all their earnings into the real estate, which people like us who are the new generation and never recommend. How should be your consumption? And I sometimes I recommend people who are in their moving jobs to never buy a property also, because the rental yield, and this is a very shocking fact, the rental yield in India is lowest in the world. What
Yes.
I mean is that if a property is worth 100 rupees, you will get not more than 1 to 2 rupees of rental on an annual basis. The reason we have the lowest rentals in the world, because our properties are highly inflated. Like our property in Bombay are equivalent to the price of Manhattan. If you go by the purchasing power parity, okay, which is huge. So our properties are very highly inflated. So sometimes I recommend, based on their finances, I tell people that why you have to buy a property. The EMI which you pay, you will be staying out of the city, traveling for 2-3 hours, instead
Yes.
of pay just 2% of the rental and save rest of the money and buy some other assets.
Correct. Actually, buying a house in India can be a poor decision, poor financial decision, so much so that it financially cripples you.
It
Your
really do.
you could have put the money into mutual funds and it would have grown like anything, over the years. But if you
But
just
still, yeah.
buy
But
a
still,
house,
there's a golden rule. But still,
hundred percent of the money to buy a house, then you'll remain poor. The chances are very high.
still, I always recommend, this is a golden rule in finance. that your EMIs and loans should not be more than 40% of your net income. That's a golden rule we follow in finance. So if you really want to go that asset heavy, if you really want to buy that home, please make sure that it should not go more than 40% of your net income, monthly income. If you still want to buy a house, I'm not saying that I'm against buying house.
There
This
is
is not
one
my
thing
point.
that I am considering doing, and this is something that many people can do in India. I mean, I strongly recommend that lawyers do it if they want to invest in real estate. Number one is that in India, the rental yield is better if you buy a smaller property. So, for example, if you buy a 3 BHK, okay, this is for investment. This is not for your own staying.
Correct.
But let's say you want to, live in a house which is basically you want to rent out a house and make money from that. It's a good idea. You get a stable income from that kind of an investment. Go for the smallest possible option. Funny enough that the price would be, so if you go for a 3 BHK, let's say you will get, so the rent is X. If you get a 1 BHK, the rent will not be X by 3. The rent will, the price will be X by 3, but the rent will be X by 2 or something like that. And what I personally recommend is that find a studio apartment which will be cheap. Maybe you can get one for 8 lakh, 10 lakhs. And what happens is that if you buy a property which is 8 lakhs or 10 lakhs, which is a small studio apartment in the city, which is possible in some cities like Calcutta, in other places, and the rent is 5,000, however. So, rental, what is happening is that you can literally pay 2,000 or 3,000 per month and own that property. Basically, your
Yes.
5,000 comes from rent, and you pay another 3,000, and your 8 lakh is covered. And you end up owning the property, and within 20 years or whatever, the payment will be over, and the rent also will come up. Maybe in 5 years, the rent instead of 5 will be 10,000. It is foreseeable.
Normally I recommend people like who still hellbound of buying house. So what I do is that something similar to you. Like I always recommend it, if your requirement is 3 BHK and if you cannot afford that, please don't wait for the 3 BHK. Save your money and do that, because the appreciation in India because of the inflated price is very high, because our inflation is very high. So I always tell them to start small, buy a 1 BHK, okay, buy that, right, put have the 100% equity in that, sell that 1 BHK. That can be a down payment for your 2 BHK or 3 BHK flat, and then accordingly.
Yeah, selling a property is terrible because you lose 30% of your. Of course, if you reinvest immediately, I think within 6 months you don't lose. But otherwise, if you sell a property, you lose like 30% of that in income
There are a
tax.
lot of taxes. There are a lot of, and the people, they forget, the people like us who are into white income, how we will generate the black income component. That's also a big problem. So that's the reason in India, because unfortunately see, I'm not against real estate, because like in my foreign people whom I recommend, I know recommend REITs to them, which is a real estate investment trust. It's like a real estate mutual fund. Okay, in India, the market is still developing. In India, like in US, I can buy the hospital properties REITs. I can buy the casino property REITs. I can buy a stadium or REITs or something. What they will do is that they will take my money, invest in a stadium or a casino. Whatever the renters they will get, I'll get that. India is still not there, but still, that's the reason in India I'm not very keen to get into the. I'll always recommend people to buy a house to stay. Don't go beyond that, because in India it will take out your 50-80% of your net worth, and if something happens to real estate or something like that, you will be broke or a bankrupt. So buy a house to stay, not to invest. That is my basic generalized advice.
Yes, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. So, apart from these, what are the other investment avenues? Real estate, mutual fund, insurance. What else that people should be doing for a good finance? Is there
I
anything
think I think the biggest thing they need to invest, which is between the ears, which is their brain. That people always, this is because I myself, let me give you a very small, kind of interesting stuff. I started my career as a dishwasher in McDonald's. Okay, and then I used to wait tables in Pizza Hut. Okay, From there, I grown to head as an assistant vice president in a multinational company, head in the latest IoT technologies and all that.
Hmm.
So I started my career like that as a waiter. So how I done that? Because I keep on investing in my skills. The biggest assets is between your ears, okay, which is your brain. Because
Sure.
that people always forget that the major part of your earning will happen when if you're able to invest in your skills. If you invest in your skills, you will do better in your job, or maybe you start your own business. The income which you will get from there, that will generate those assets.
Right.
So always recommend that instead of always recommend people invest in mutual funds, invest in property, invest in gold, FDs, but always keep on enhancing your skills also. Find your passion, your skills, and enhance that. So the companies are giving you top dollar for that. So that's the reason I always tell people that invest in your skills also. That
So
is
tell
also an
me something about what about investing in other countries? Like, is it a good idea for Indians to invest in other countries? What about that?
it is a necessary now. It is necessary now because we are little lucky here that we have a lot of foreign based funds which we call funds of funds. What is a fund of fund? A fund of fund is that in which I, as an Indian guy, invest in a US fund, okay, and that fund will invest in the fund which is there in US. Okay, that's called fund of funds. A fund is investing in another fund. So we have a lot of, like for example, in Motilal Oswal. Again, it's not a recommendation. I'm just telling you. It's as per SEBI regulation. We without understanding you, we can't recommend any products. So again,
Sure.
don't take as my recommendation here.
No,
It's
you're
just an
giving
example.
information. That's okay.
Example purpose I'm giving that, for example, Motilal Oswal Nasdaq fund that fund invest in Facebook, Google, Tesla, and all that, and that fund has given the return of more than 20% past 4 or 5 years.
More than
So
20%.
more than 20%
Okay.
in the last 5 years. So we have a US funds who invest in Dow Jones. We have funds who invest in European stocks. So we have those kind of funds also. And I always recommend my clients that at least keep 20 to 25% of your portfolio in foreign stocks. But yes, the only risk we have is of the exchange rate, because right now the way our dollar is rupee conversion is moving, it for example, it's a advantage for us. For example, if 5 years back I invested in US stocks at 50 rupees, my stocks have increased, but I have also got the benefit of exchange because now the dollar is 70 rupees. That 20% is an IC, the 20 rupees extra which I got is an icing on the cake.
Yes.
So, so that's a very, I mean, because I'm getting dividends in dollars from that company.
Yeah, but
So
it is
five
not
years
expected that Indian rupee will strengthen a lot against the dollar. I mean, although it is at
never,
that all-time down.
because the reason is that, so when we got our independence, our 1 rupee is valued to $1 in 1947 to 50. Now it is 70 rupees to $1, because I'm not I will not use this platform to give you some economics gyan, but our country has a lot of advantage of keeping our currency low because of our exports and imports stuff. Our IT industry is relying only on this only. If we keep $1 to 1 rupee, our IT industry will go, our jobs will go, our consumption will go. So it's in our interest only to keep our exchange rate low.
Right. In fact, US has been constantly complaining it. So it needs in Indian interest that if rupee is weakening in terms of exports, in terms of even other things like.
But you guys are smart. You're the LawSikho graduates. So basically, you need to be one step ahead. You need to keep investing in US stocks so that your earnings should be in dollars. You're a smart guys.
Yes, sure. Great, fantastic. I think that kind of brings us to the end of this session. Anything else you would like to share before we finish off this discussion?
I just want to tell all my viewers that please, finance is not a complicated subject. Please don't run away from that. It's a principle of keep it simple, stupid. That's the principle it goes. Please understand, sit with your wife, sit with your family, understand your goals, do the backward calculation, and hire, if you still not able to understand, only hire a SEBI registered advisor, okay, because he will take only fees from you. So it's a very transparent business dealings. Keep your finances simple. Again, I'm repeating, cover your take a term cover for yourself, health insurance for your family, assets for your home, asset cover like earthquake and all that stuff. Invest in index funds if you are very conservative in nature. Keep your 1 year of your expenses in a liquid mutual fund, so that if something happens, if some job goes or something, you are at least safe. That's a golden rule. After all these things are covered, then only start investing in index funds or mutual funds. Okay, and when you're near to your goal, there's a one more thing called SWP, which is systematic STP, sorry, a systematic transfer plan. So when you're near to your goal, you keep on money taking the money back from that fund, and accordingly, you can pay for your child education, your retirement goals. Please start today. As I told you before, that just 5 years of delay in that 25 years, 30 years of journey has cost you 6 crores. The 50% of your overall. Please start today, because your time is finite in nature, but your demands and your needs are infinite. So accordingly, money is a very important subject. Please take it seriously. The days of that buying a real estate, gold, and FDs are gone, because we are living in a much more complicated world. This requires a knowledge to manage all that. We are not in a sarkari job. Our incomes are not same. So please take this in your own hands.
Correct.
Finance
And
is very important.
one thing I want to share before we wrap up is that you don't have to save a lot of money. Like we think
Yes,
that you just save 1/10 of your income. That is enough. You save
that is
one
good
tenth
enough
of
for your
your
retirement.
income, let it compound. Never take it out. Never do anything. Just let it accumulate, and you will be rich. You don't have to start rich by earning right now. It is
Yes.
easier to get rich by saving than it is to get rich by earning right away. So just I strongly recommend one book to everyone. So I read this book and it really opened my eyes about finance. So it's a book called the the Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
yes, so Babylon was, one of the richest cities in the world for 6,000 years. Not
Yes,
1,000, 2,000 years, like 6,000 years. It was world's richest place. And the story is that they invented money.
yes,
Babylonians invented the first money, and they invented interest rates and everything. And so the story is once that so somebody has written the story of the richest man in Babylon and his wisdom, that what is the wisdom of the Babylonians, that they were rich for through the ages. And these are some very few simple things. And the simple things include that if you have a debt, then save 20% of your income.
yes,
10% goes towards saving, 10% towards debt. And if you don't have debt, at least save 10%. More is okay, but at least 10% gets saved and goes towards your savings, which is never to be touched. It will only keep compounding over the years. And if you do
yes,
this, you will be very rich. It will take 10 years, 20 years, but surely you will be rich. It may seem initially like 10 years is a long time, but it is not. I was 20 10 years back. Now I'm 31. And it's I'll be 10 years later, I'll be 40, and this 10 year will pass. But if I keep
yes,
saving 10,000 every month till then, which is not a big amount of money, if I keep saving, then I will definitely end up with something like, in 10 years it will be 30 lakhs, and in 20 years it will be 2 crores almost. And in of course in like 30 years it could be multiple crores. So that is how it
I've just given you the example with your 10,000 number. If you keep on spending, if you keep on investing 10,000 for 30 years, you will have 12 crores.
right.
So
Absolutely.
it's very simple. It's very simple. People, they think that they can't able to save that. Please give time to your investments, and please shut it. You will be very thankful to LawSikho, who have done this broadcasting of this program, that they have gone through this 20 years back. You will be thankful to this programming. Please follow the action points. Please don't waste time.
Sure. And thank you for giving us your time. Hi.
Yeah, your voice is not audible. Yeah, now I can hear you now.
Hello.
Yeah.
I think I just